Today's March
12th.
12th. Good morning. Today is the March 12th, 2024 meeting of the Eidelweiss Board of Commissioners, and it's 9 a.m. First, I'd like to say we don't have a printed agenda, so we're not going to be voting on an agenda. Eidelweiss experienced a significant cybersecurity event sometime last week, and it has disabled our network and our computer systems. So we're not able to use the accounting system, and we've had to ask the banks to close the bank accounts and reissue new account numbers, and we have some work to do. So we've been kind of in an emergency situation. We'll be continuing that until we get everything fully restored. So we'll be having meetings at the office every day that we can get a quorum of commissioners together, which is not clear to us what people's schedules are now, but we'll talk about that in non-public session. But we will be conducting meetings that are open to the public in the emergency situation. But we'll also intermix that with non-public sessions where we will be interviewing candidates for employment with the village. So that's a situation, no agenda, and we'll do commissioners' reports. We don't have manifests to okay, but we do have a DPW report.
Okay.
So if you're ready, Jeff.
I am, thank you. So Danny Whitelaw came and he fixed the heater in the toilet.
Great.
So those are all set. Chadwick came up and looked at the grader for that issue with the wing, and he couldn't find the right thing, and he was trying to coordinate with Craig that that had the wing, that we bought the wing from. And anyway, Dale came up from Chadwick, and he's got a good idea, but he thinks at this point in the game it's something we could address when the machine goes down to get some more service done. So rather than have another guy come up and try to do something up here, we'll save the nut and do that when it goes down.
Because it's not going to snow anymore in southern New Hampshire where they are.
Yeah. Well, even if we get snow with the roads being as muddy and as soft as they are, we don't want to take the grader out.
Okay.
So with that, we'll get to what we did the other day with the storm and being as muddy as it is. We got the snow off the road in a timely, safe manner like we're supposed to, and I mean, that's about all I need to say about that.
Good job.
Thank you. Tony and I handled it just like we're supposed to. But I do have a couple of things. People got to remember the parking ordinance. I had a lot of cars parked in the road during the storm, and that's just a problem. So, I mean, I had to call the sheriff on one to get it pulled out of there. It'd been there for a couple of days, actually. The other ones are just probably renters. So people renting their homes need to be, responsible for the renters knowing what's going on. So I took a look at the signs, and they're probably from 1985 that say no parking from November 15th to April 15th, which are great. But $25, I don't know if we want to add a zero to that. Yeah, I mean, $25 isn't going to get somebody to stop parking on the road.
Does it say that we tow?
I think it says an owner's expense, maybe. I was just kind of looking at the dates and the fee there. I mean, I knew it said $25, but but just like I said, it's common sense.
Which roads were the most impacted by people parking?
There was one up at the end of East Bergamo. There was one up on Little Shore. There was one over on Jungfrau, and I know they were. A couple of those were renters. I mean, I saw the people on Little Shore, and I said, that car's got to go. And that home, I think, is big. I don't know if there's a couple different people, because they're like, well, we don't know who that person is. And I'm like, well, it's right in front of the house here. Then later, there were people out there in the street shoveling their car out, and I said, that guy's got to go. And they were like, oh, well, want me to go in and tell him? I was like, yeah. Because the last person said he didn't know who it was, but they were in the same driveway. But like I said, and the one on Jungfrau was definitely renters. I mean, I'm like, why were you parked in the road all night? And the guy's like, I'm like, well, I can't have that.
Yeah.
So, I know it's late in the game and it is what it is, but it's still, I mean, I'm trying to do my job safely. Then if I go home and then they take the car out of the road, now you got a lump of snow there that someone's going to drive into and have a problem with, So luckily they got them out before we were gone and we cleaned it all up, but just something people got to keep in mind.
I think signs are one thing, but I think maybe next winter season we need to start a little bit of an education campaign around the village and among all residents and homeowners, even if they're renters, that.
Right. I mean,
and I like
it
the
just
idea
is
of
what it is.
Upping the fine if.
It's common sense, but unfortunately, some people lose track of those little things.
Yeah. People don't pay attention to signs
And
unless they're already aware of the issue.
right. So other than that, like I say, the storm went good. We took care of it. The radios. Our radios don't seem to work great. The one in the shop's not communicating to the things. It's all static. Jimmy Hayford and I met the other day, and we were talking about them, how they should kind of, and I know I've talked with Mike Brooks in the past about this too, they should all kind of work together. Well, ours ourselves aren't working together really. Now, with Jimmy sitting right next to me in the shop there in the parking lot, he could hear me on the radio and I could hear him. But I don't think we hear him outside of that, we were right next to it, and Tony and I couldn't hear each other at all. He'd come across the radio, I'd say, yep, go ahead, and he couldn't hear me back. So luckily we got cell phones to kind of coordinate those, but something's going on with the radios, and I don't know if it's because I know the antennas got sheared off early in the season from the storms.
On the trucks.
On the trucks, and we've replaced them, but I don't know, something's still going on. I mean, those guys, Ospey Electronics just gave us the antennas and we put them on ourselves. Simple enough, you just screw it in, you make sure the knobs are touching or whatever, but I don't know, they're just not seeming to work right, so I don't know if we gotta get Ospey Electronics out to take a closer look. And I know the one in the shop, again, hasn't been working properly in a long, about a year.
Does it have an antenna on the roof?
I believe so, but maybe it's bent over or something like that too. Again, I don't know. So I don't know if that's something we want to kind of have them come and take a look at, because like I said, we couldn't really communicate with the radio, so now you got to pick up the phone and call, and I don't know.
So you want to give Ospey a call?
Yeah, I could give that if you guys want me to. I mean, because again,
Okay with that?
Yes.
in an emergency, it'd be nice to be able to just, call the fire department or police on the radio as well. I did have a tree in the wires off of Granville during the storm that I had to call in. It started catching on fire. I drove up to plow, I heard a big bang, I backed up, and I went around the other side, and all of a sudden the thing's crackling like Christmas. And then it started gulfing in flames, but then it went out. I felt bad. By the time the fire department got there, it was out. But they did their thing and took care of it. Then the power company came. Were you without power? Yeah. No? Oh, you guys got lucky.
I saw the trees down in emergency.
Should we make a motion about Ospey Electronics? I just asked him if. I'll make a motion that we okay Jeff to get those radios inspected.
I'll second that.
All in
That would be
favor?
good.
Aye.
Aye.
3-0.
Because I know back in the, when we first had the 19 hooked up, that radio did pick up everything Madison was saying, everything the police was saying, and every now and then the radio in the 18 would pick certain things up if they were close. Now it gets nothing, and like I said, Tony and I are having a problem within the district talking to each other on them, so that would be a good thing, so I'll give them a call.
I think it's exceedingly important that Tony and Jeff can talk to each other, but equally important to be able to stay in touch with your counterparts.
Right,
Madison.
I agree with that. So yeah, I talked with Jimmy. I did get another load of that 3/4 stone last week, so that's I'd gotten 3 loads so far. And you've seen that we've been putting it out, and luckily with the rubber edges on the trucks, we didn't throw gravel into the ditch lines. Like I said, with the way the roads were in the storm, we did it pretty well. That's about all I got so far. We're gonna get those tines. I got the tines for the rake, so we're gonna get that put on, and when the roads soften up, we're gonna start raking it to help dry it out.
Nice.
I had a neighbor ask me about Appinville Way, where we discussed last week,
Yeah.
the cement delivery, and he asked me if those people get fined for what they do to the roads during posting. And I said, well, They should, I believe. And I think we have a few things to talk to Madison Police about. One would be, what would their recommendation be on this $25 fine changing to, what does Madison do?
Right.
And I explained to the resident that the contractor attempted to fix the road without getting an okay from us. But he did have a conversation with you. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was after the fact.
No, I had called him and said he's got to do something with the road.
And I didn't explain, I did say that he couldn't get the right size rock, using 3/4.
Right.
He got larger rock.
Yeah, he had 1.5 inches.
This guy drives over that section of the road all the time, that's why he's asking me about it.
Yeah.
So I guess enforcing mud season ordinance, those posted things, is something we should talk about.
Yeah.
Maybe we should look at what all the fines are for driving an excavator on our paved roads.
Right.
That was an issue last year a few times.
Yes, it was.
And it doesn't seem like $100 matters to somebody that's charging $3,000 to do a transport of heavy equipment.
Right.
So when the smoke clears from the issues that we're dealing with, we'll try to discuss
Yeah,
this
we
with
can come up with some kind of solutions for
Madison
moving
Chief.
forward.
Another thing that you mentioned to me last week that you probably, I don't know if the other two commissioners know, but the previous board had decided that we had a tank of number 2 heating oil at the DPW 1, and we said that we wouldn't mind seeing it donated to the Madison DPW garage. And Jeff mentioned to me in passing last week that Madison DPW came and picked up,
Absolutely. Yep. They pumped it out.
Is this
The
number
tank's
2?
empty. Yep.
Diesel? Okay.
and that was a 275 tank, a standard home tank. Upright.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was full, nearly full,
Pretty much near full. Yeah.
270.
Wow.
So at,
Yeah. They could have gotten maybe 225, 250 gallons. I'd say. You know.
so 250 at over $3 a gallon, that's $750 we donated to the town, which is a good place for us to put it because it's our pocketbook too.
Yeah.
Right.
So thanks for getting that done.
Oh, no problem. It's a win-win, I think, for both of us.
So we don't use number 2 at all anymore?
No, when that furnace burned out a couple years ago, we switched over to a propane furnace and all that stuff got taken out. Except, like I say, the oil until last week.
So great.
How do we get the tank itself?
Well, that's it. Tony and I are gonna make a few, cut a few pipes and that stuff like that, and we're gonna pick it up and get it outside. And I guess what you do is you cut it in half and burn whatever little bits left in the bottom, let that burn out, and then you scrap metal. We could throw some scrap metal in it, and then pick it up, put it in the truck, and haul it off and get a ham sandwich from the recycling center at some point.
Clear up some room for you too.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's a good question. So where the tank sits, there's like a knee wall concrete blocks built around there, cement blocks. So if we pull the tank out, could we get rid of that knee wall there and
Get some space back?
Yeah, and maybe put our table back a little further there and get a little more room so we're not so crowded when the plows are on and stuff like that. Would you guys mind if?
No, whatever makes sense for you guys.
In the
whatever
shop,
works
okay.
for you, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a little work demo in that, but it won't be bad.
And that little wall was put up to protect should the
Tank spill.
tank spill.
Right.
Right.
So if the
Retaining
tank's
wall.
gone, then
It could
of
be
course it would be.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Great.
So you were joking, we're actually gonna get a check from the scrap company back to Eidelweiss, right? Because I think that's.
Oh,
the policy.
absolutely.
Yes.
I say ham sandwich because
I'll get you the ham sandwich.
it's not that much.
Anything else for Jeff? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
You too. So I guess we could go into commissioners' reports, seeing how we don't have much else on the agenda. One of the things I did is I followed through on our suggestion from the bank that we put the 2 applications on the bank accounts, which are being changed. So I'll make a motion that you okay me going to the bank this week and signing documents to take care of issues with the bank. and we'll discuss other issues with the bank, another bank in non-public session. But we're going to have that positive pay and that ACH filter put on.
Positive pay and ACH filter. yeah.
Those are the two applications. So I'll make a motion that you okay me signing documents at the bank this week,
I'll
probably
second that.
today if I can.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then if there are certain changes, then we might all need to sign things again? No? Okay.
They're just changing the numbers.
Okay.
New
Where the
accounts.
signature cards were so new, they were able to use them on the new account.
Oh, good.
How fast can this whole process take place?
I don't know. We still have many
In
unanswered
reference
questions.
to what?
Well, I'm concerned about when's the next payroll? When's that next payroll due?
Next week.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to run it Monday.
So,
We'll discuss how we get this done.
okay,
We don't want to reveal accidentally any piece of,
yeah. Okay, I'm just concerned about how fast it can go.
Yes.
And, gotcha,
I'd like to expedite,
Yep.
which I'll talk about in non-public session.
okay.
Um, So that's basically what I have to report, is what I've done since the last time I saw you guys in a meeting. Anybody else have anything they'd like to report or talk about?
Nope, I think most of it will be.
Any issues you'd like us to address?
No.
So I'll make a motion that we go into non-public session under 91A3, Roman numeral 2, small a for employee and small l for a legal issue.
Okay.
And we're going to post that we will have public and non-public meetings and post them every day, because I don't know what your schedules are, so we're going to be using the emergency part of 91A, which is 91A2, Roman numeral 3, small b, under emergency meetings. And part of those will be a non-public session if we have
Yes.
candidates to interview.
Mhm.
So the door will be open, people can come in and listen to us talk about issues unless we have a candidate to interview, and then we'll go into non-public session.
Okay,
Or if we're talking about issues that should be non-public as we address the system issue.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
And roll call for non-public session, Nancy?
Aye.
Woody
Aye.
says aye, I say aye, so it's 3-0. Thank you, Kasha. 9